Hello everybody, this is your student Facebook meteorologist Sean Bagden here, and we are live to give you the Day 6 forecast discussion for Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we're going to start out with our current Day 5 results. These are yet to be confirmed, but this is what we have so far. Our forecast high was 65, did pretty well. Ended up with a high of 66 so far. Likely not going to change. Low temperature. We did bust a little bit on the low side just to because of the stronger warm air advection than expected setting up across the region. We went for a low of 46. The actual low was 49 degrees. And wind, yet again, we were spot on, at least so far, with a wind speed of 17 knots and zeros across the board for precip for both current and what we were expecting. So that's 4 error points, putting us third in the school and about 319th out of about 800 or so forecasters that are currently qualified right now. 4 points, made a gain of 13 positions today. And as we can see here, hovering right around the national consensus. So moving on to what is going on now and into the future, we can see we have this shortwave trough trying to dig into the region for the night tonight. This is what's going to cause our gusty winds as we head into the morning tomorrow. But it appears that this dry air off to the south is going to slow the progress of this and is going to continue pushing off to the east into New England, where there's potential for severe weather developing there tomorrow. So what does that mean for tomorrow for us in Michigan here? This basically means that we have yet again another day of dry air. Looks like we do have some low-level moisture to contend with, so that may be interesting. Definitely more moist in the low levels than today with that northwesterly flow, so may see not much of a diurnal temperature range as we have moisture going over the lakes with those windy conditions. We may end up seeing a lower high temperature than we would normally expect and higher lows. That is what we'd expect with that sort of regime. We can see right here on our surface chart we have a very clear frontal boundary right in here where the winds shift out of the west instead of the southwest here. Frontal boundaries kind of developed right here along that. Here you can see temperatures dropping back down into the low 60s back here and into the 70s, upper 70s and low 80s across southern Minnesota and Iowa. That's that warm air mass that's going to be pushing in, and we'll likely be on the warm side of this boundary heading into the day tomorrow with potentially scattered drizzle, as we can see here, especially after this kind of decaying boundary picks up moisture off of Lake Michigan here. So, heading off into the models, this is going to be a pretty quick and easy day, I'd imagine, to forecast for. We're going to start off with the NAM as always. We're starting off here. There we go. We'll go to 21Z. Hold on, everybody. We're going to go to UTC time. And 21Z, there it is. We have 64 degrees actual temperature and 52 degrees on the dew point. So 64, 52. Actually, this is pretty spot on right here. May go a degree lower on the low. Actually, no, I think we're gonna stick with this. Just because we were expecting it to be a little warmer than expected for our low, we'll probably stick with whatever this forecast scenario goes with, because it does have that extra degree added on here. And it does seem pretty reasonable that we'd see this not so far of a drop in temperatures tonight, just due to the fact that we have that very strong warm air advection and high winds and increasing cloudiness aloft, which will decrease our effectiveness to cool the atmosphere. Generally, we look for light winds at the surface and just above the surface with clear skies, and we have the exact opposite of that. 58 might be reasonable here. I may even go a little bit higher because last night kind of scared me with that. But it looks pretty consistent with 58 right there. We'll see what happens on the back side of this. And it looks like an early morning high, maybe. I don't think we get that warm tomorrow. Probably staying pretty steady state here. Oh, we do end up getting some drying coming in aloft. That's very interesting. Very interesting here. Yep, and we do drop down pretty low there, so we may take off a degree on our low temperature here. Low of 49, I could buy that. Low of 49, definitely. I think we're gonna go with that low of 49 here. Just because behind this boundary it will be a little bit colder than what we are expecting on the front side of this with that warm air advection. So low of 49 is what we'll initially go with for this period. High temperature, this could be a little bit interesting, just given the passage of that boundary, and then depending on whether it clears out or not above that, because look at this massive pocket of dry air here. That's going to lead to significant wind energy getting to the ground. So very high wind threat tomorrow. I'm surprised we don't have wind advisories in place for this event. Very interesting. 63 goes up to 67 for a time. Interesting. That's very interesting. This doesn't make much sense. Okay. I see what's going on here. So here is your initial surge of warm air advection and compressional warming along the frontal boundary. And then as you head on in through the day, cold air advection takes hold with this northwesterly flow that we can see on this photograph right there. And then, boom, there we go. Actually, that is very weird. We do have cloud cover in place with cold air advection. I don't know. We're going to have to look at more models on this one. But then I can see how it does warm up later in the afternoon as we get that huge dry slot to build in here. Interesting. I may go a degree low here and take this 66. Because it does look like we could hit 66 here. I'm not very confident on that late day high though. The morning high does seem reasonable given compressional warming along the front and the warm air advection though. So I'm going to start out at 66 here, with the potential to go for either 65 or 67. Sounds reasonable enough. Oops, sorry everybody. We're gonna head over and check out some wind forecasts right now, because that's gonna be the most interesting part of tomorrow, I would imagine. Yep, here we go. Really steepening those lapse rates here. The equilibrium level looks like we hit 40 knots up at the top there. See if that strengthens any. Yeah, looks like, yeah, 40 knots or so. Okay. We'll keep it right there at 40, I believe. So that's going to be 40 times the rule of 60%, and that gives us 24 knots for a sustained wind. That is per the NAM. So the NAM's been pretty accurate with wind, so I think we're going to stay there. Now here's the real question. What happens in terms of rain along this boundary? We may see a few showers as we do have that moistening happen right in the morning hours, which we can see right here, and we do have some lift here in the low levels. But due to this dry air, I'm not sure much of it reaches the ground. So for this, we're going to go to the frontogenesis feature on the Tropical Tidbits website right here. And that should help us out. Look at that strong warm air advection pumping in right there. Right in the morning. There's got to be some precipitation with that. That is thumping. Maybe a little to the north, but I think we definitely see precipitation with that. That is very strong. And then we get into that cold air advection regime right there. But right out in front of that, very warm air starts to surge out in front of it with that strong forcing with westerly flow and high winds aloft. Yeah, I could definitely see us picking up a couple tenths of an inch of rain within that. Let's have a look at what that looks like on the precipitation forecast here. Wow, I'm surprised there's not much with that. Especially with this little boundary you can see right here. I'm a little nervous about that. I think we could see precipitation tomorrow morning. Let's have a look here. Okay. I guess it does stay a little bit to the north, and we do have dry air in place, so that... Okay, I can buy this. It's just something I'm a little skittish about here. Yep, all models keep it just a little bit to the north, so we will go with that and pick 0 here. So now it looks like the high temperature is going to be our challenge yet again. Low temperature, I feel pretty confident in. But, man, that high temperature has been awful these past few days, at least forecasting complications wise. Okay, here we go. KGRR. Alright, here we go. How are we looking at 21Z? Again, that is our big number right here, 65.49. 65.49. Hold on, everybody. 65.49. Okay, temperatures would be a little bit lower than what our model is going to be showing right here because of that decrease in humidity. So it's going to be a couple degrees warmer than it shows here on the HRRR model, likely. And we can definitely see that. Bottom drops out with the temperatures tonight. Down to 57 right there. And doesn't appear that we get that warm air advection compressional warming out in front of this cold front right here. It does remain a little bit colder within that. But it doesn't appear we get that evaporational cooling occurring. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. Okay, there it goes, there it goes. We drop down to 59. This could actually be the voice of reason with this setup right here, because I really don't see it getting as warm as whatever it said, 67 degrees in the NAM. I just don't see that happening. Oh, it does bring it up to 67. 68 even. Very interesting. I think we go 66 still. And that would make the most sense here. Although I don't want to be low yet again on our high temperature, which we've been doing quite a bit recently. Let's have a look at this low temperature really quick. Make sure 49 is within reason here on the HRRR. Looks like it will be. Yep, 49 seems quite reasonable. Yeah, drops it down to 50. So 49 seems pretty good there. But that again, that high temperature is really an issue right now. But we do really dry it out like they were showing before. Let's head on over to the H-Wharf. H-Wharf generally does pretty well under these scenarios. And that does show us getting up to 66, like we were originally expecting. So that may be what we end up going with. We went 66 originally. Again, this brings it up to 67. If we see something else go up to 67, we may end up going 67 here. Let's go over to the NSSL H-Wharf here and confirm our thinking. Okay. Oh, and also wind-wise, yeah, 24 knots looks pretty good. Yep, 24 knots. That's I like our forecast for wind there of 24 knots. Definitely seems reasonable. As for sure. Does not get that warm here with this one. I think we stay right with the 64. We'll stay right there. Or whatever I went with, 66. because NSSL Wharf does keep it a little cooler than we were expecting here. Interesting. Okay. Let's go over to Brian Tang's Weather Challenge Output website and look at our 2-meter temperatures right here. Preferably the low temperature. Again, we went 49. 49 looks pretty reasonable here, right around the consensus, right in the middle there. I will stay with that 49 degree temperature right here, especially since the 18Z NAM went right around that 49 and was trending on the warm side of NAM consensus, and the GFS latest run trended a little higher as well, so 49 looks pretty good. Also, looking at high temperature, looks like the NAM continues to trend higher on that as well, but the GFS trends lower. GFS went down to 64 degrees, and the GFS and the NAM went up to 69. That is really tough. I think I may end up going the high road here to 69. Although we do have that evaporative cooling, but instead of that, we do that compressional warming in the morning, so that'll be interesting how warm that gets up to. But then it drops off with that frontal passage, and then that warming really ramps up in the afternoon as the atmosphere dries out. I think we're going to go 69 degrees because we've been busted on that before. And then we're going to go over here to the wind forecast and see if we show around 40 knots here at the boundary layer maximum. And there we go. We see right around 34 to 35 knots here. So 24 knots seems pretty reasonable for our wind speed here. And precipitation, everything goes null except for an error run from the NAM, which shows 8 inches of precipitation. That seems very, very high. So we're not going to go with that. We're going to go with the zeros here. So that's going to be our forecast for tomorrow in Grand Rapids, Michigan. High temperature 69, low 49, precipitation 0, and wind of 24 knots. Have a good night, everybody. And we'll be back tomorrow with our Day 7 forecast for Grand Rapids, Michigan.